Well, Ted, if anything signaled a change of the times here in this era, this is probably it. On the 517 Monday Night Raw, Sean Waltman would score a huge upset victory over Razor Ramon. Waltman had gone by a few different names since coming into the company and working as an enhancement guy, but this is a fun piece of business. We know that this incident is going to lead to the rivalry between yourself and Razor Ramon when you and other heels start to taunt Razor about losing the match to the much smaller kid. But I'm curious, you're in this era and you grew up in this era of these massive guys, over the top guys, great physiques, huge guys, and at a glance, Waltman does not look like the typical wrestler. What did you think when you saw this smaller guy coming into the biggest stage in pro wrestling?
Well, I'll be honest with you. I said, this is great. I mean, because here's the thing: old school, real old school wrestling. I mean, like my father's era. The era just before me and all these other guys. It's me and Hanson and Brody and Hulk and all these guys. It's Vince McMahon. Vince McMahon loved guys with big bodies. I mean, Vince. I mean, he worked. Even now, I'm sure he stays in tip top shape. I mean,
Hmm.
I'm about to turn 70, so I think Vince has got to be somewhere around 80 now.
I know
I'm
he's
not.
in his 70s. Yeah.
Yeah, I think he's almost 80, but I mean, I could guarantee you this: if I saw him again today, he would still have the guns. I mean, he. Let's put it this way: when he had the office built in Stanford, and this is the one that's right off Interstate 95, and you can see the great big WWF flag as you drive by it on your right,
Yeah.
going that way, going north, and he had a gym put in that office that is second to none. I mean, it could have been Gold's Gym. I mean, it had everything, not just free weights, all the equipment. I mean, everything. I mean, if you and so anybody who wanted to, if you're working for the company and you're there for any reason, you want to work out in the gym, there it is. So I mean, that's how dedicated to looking good Vince is, and he liked that. He liked the guys with the big bodies and the the great big physiques, but old school wrestling didn't demand that. I mean, okay, let me give you an example. You remember Buck Robley?
I know the name. I can't put a
Okay,
face to it.
yeah, the Colonel Buck Robley, and Buck Robley was a great. Not only was he a great in ring wrestler, but Bill Watts had him as the what do you call it? Uh, the matchmaker for a while,
Oh, Booker.
the booker for a while under him. And if you ever saw Buck, you go, I mean, he had no body, and nothing significant, and he like he wore long tights and this, just look him up, but Buck Robley. But Buck is just one example. I mean, Dick Murdoch. There's another guy, another great wrestler, but yeah, and Dick was big. He had size on him, but he never had he never looked like he came off the cover of Muscle and Fitness magazine. And but great wrestler, and so that's the era of the guys, and me. I had a decent body, but I never looked like, it's like I didn't look like I came off of Muscle and Fitness magazine either. I was a great in ring worker, performer. I had a decent body, but you would never think, like, well, I and that's actually one of the things that Vince said to me when I signed with him. He says, I want you to be visible in the gym.
Were you? Were you
I
making
did. Oh
appearances?
yeah. Oh yeah. I worked out a lot more then than I did uh, or have since. So
When you see this guy, Sean Waltman, he probably goes about 6 foot tall, maybe 180 pounds, somewhere in that neighborhood. I know that a lot of people, and this was in the Observer at the time. A lot of the people were like, "What are we doing here?" But you saw it, and you thought of guys like Buck Robley,
yeah,
and knew
yeah,
that he didn't need to be huge, right?
yeah. I mean, here's like the reason I'm surprised is like I can't believe it because, look at the size of this kid. I mean, he doesn't look like he could break an egg.
Mhm.
But again, it worked.
And, to Sean's credit, man, he is a great performer, he can really go in the ring, and so I think that kinda helped make him believable too, where it's like, "Man,
Absolutely,
he could fly."
absolutely.